flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'm happy to say we may sit down.
Yeah.
And when you're ready, the roll call, please.
Councilmember De La Rosa? Here. Councilmember Ponce?
Here.
Councilmember Schickling?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Lavelle?
Here.
Mayor Marshall?
Here. Are there any written
I have no
communications or announcements?
No written communications. I do have some announcements. The City Clerk's Office would like to share the following reminders for the June 2nd statewide primary election. The certified candidates for mayor are Cindy Cassidy, Daniel Feltz, Grayson Klein, and Annie Marshall. The certified candidates for city council with 2 seats available are Bree Boussard, Donna Lopez, Michael Ponce, and Jessica Romero. Some key election dates: official sample ballots, ballot booklets, which would include the candidate statements, are being mailed to voters between April 23rd and May 12th. LA County has begun mailing vote-by-mail ballots to registered voters. The deadline to register is May 18th. The election day is June 2nd, 2026. I'd like to also mention that the Community Service Director, David Hart, will also provide some information regarding the candidate forum as part of his department head report.
Excellent. Okay, department head reports.
Yes. Yeah, I found it. Thank you. Oops, there we go. Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, and staff. My name's Jackie Cordero, Public Works Director. It's Public Works Appreciation Week, the May 17th, so keeping in line with last council meeting's theme, I wanted to talk a little bit more about Public Works and what we do and what we did this last couple weeks. So again, Public Works is essential services that keep Avalon running. The streets, the sidewalk, the wastewater, the saltwater, storm water and drainage facilities, park, the cemetery, fleet and equipment, so everything that has an engine, and of course emergency response. And then a year in a review. What have we done in the last year since this fiscal year, since July of 2025? These are some examples: the elbow delineator, sombrero fountain, the JMF scoreboard. It kind of all kind of coincides together, and you forget, at least for me. But we've done a lot in these last 10 months, and our fiscal year is July to July, so we're keeping going. And so what we've done the last couple weeks are some pothole repairs. Remember, the island is a remote area, and it's very difficult to get resources here. So when Jordan has asphalt, we try to capitalize on that. But we can only get so much because we're competing with other projects. So we did this major pothole repair, and we'll continue to do some all over town in the next couple months. We're doing some restroom repairs. The mole, the showers, it's hard to see on that picture. But we also are storing and bringing in, as they trickle in, the temporary facility restrooms for the mole project. And there's a picture there. They're actually quite nice. And then this past weekend, we had the Old Man Rugby event. They're very raucous. And they left it kind of messy. But, you know, that's what we're here to do. That's part of our job, right? So we cleaned it up. We also had a cemetery service, and we're keeping up with the maintenance at the cemetery. If you haven't been up there, the grass is growing. It's actually really beautiful. The sunshine is really helping the grass grow. And then we're doing, again, what we're going to be doing in May is concentrating on our beach and beach repairs and cleanup. replenishing the sand. You could see there we're taking care of the steps at Step Beach. And some of the posts we're going to be repainting. So it's a lot of work that we're going to be doing here in the month of May. And what's next? Again, those front street preparations, street markings around town, the weed abatement, and the potholes. Just getting ready and the town ready for summer. Any questions?
No, but
Just speaking of street markings around town, lately there's been a little bit of confusion around the Sombrero Fountain. Some people say it's a roundabout and all that kind of stuff, but I always tell people, by virtue of the fact that there's stop signs at every street, means it's not a roundabout. So is there any way to, I don't know, to convey that it's not a roundabout and it's okay to make that left right there going up Whitley?
Well, if it was a roundabout, it would have the sign. So there is no, and that's actually a discussion was going to have in the next week with the city manager to see what we would like to do there with traffic. I actually talked to Bob about that, and he said there's a transportation plan already with markings and signage, and but it's a matter of what we want to do and implement. But for right now, you can make the left turn there, is what my understanding is, because there's no sign.
Okay, I'll just keep spreading the word.
I agree that you can, but also anyone who's taking a DMV test needs to know that the DMV treats that as a roundabout. You will get dinged on your driver's test if you do not treat that as a roundabout.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, thank God I got my license.
right. You're good. Maybe don't spread it to the youngers that are getting golf cart licenses over here. So, yeah,
Good to know.
I think people use it that way anyway, but yeah.
Okay, good to know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else?
no, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Gotta love confusing streets.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, City Staff. Michael Alegria, Fire Chief. We had 93 total calls in April, 50 EMS, 43 other, 350 for the year. Want to remind everybody, weed abatement by June 1. Got another month to go for that. And then also there's some new updates coming out on the Zone 0 with the state. There's state regulated land and local land, but it's going to be implemented within, there's a 3-year and a 5-year. So we'll get some of that info out, and that is no combustible materials around your house. For the LRA, they're doing it where you could have trees, but they've got to be trimmed. They can't go over your house. There's different things, but we'll get that info out when that becomes available, or we'll put it out on the city website of what is coming up with Zone 0. Fire Service Day, we're going to do Fire Service Day Saturday from 9 to 12. I believe we'll have pancakes and bacon. So this Saturday from 9 to 12, come by the fire station, show our apparatus, show off our other new toys we have this Saturday. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, City Staff. In the month of April, we had 478 log entries made by the deputies. Of that, 116 were calls for service from the public, and 363 were observations made by the deputies. During the observations they made, there were 58 traffic stops and 5 pedestrian stops. There were 8 hazard citations, 5 non-hazardous citations, 5 parking citations, and 48 warnings given. There were also 4 arrests. 1 was for domestic violence, 1 was for felony theft, grand theft, 1 was for driving without a license, and 1 was for driving while under the influence of alcohol. We'll have extra staff available tomorrow for Cinco de Mayo and for the procession by the church. And we also have additional staff hired for the wine mixer coming up at the beginning of next month.
I don't know the term hazardous situations.
So there's 2 types of citations that you give out when it's a vehicle involved. It's either hazardous or non-hazardous. So a hazardous citation is like if you you're moving your vehicle and you could cause harm to somebody else or yourself. Whereas a non-hazardous is like an equipment violation where you have a taillight out or something
Okay.
you can fix. That's non-hazardous.
Okay, because I hadn't heard that before, so thank you.
Any questions?
No? Great. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council, city staff, Kevin Schmidt, Harbor Master. So today we had the inaugural visit of the Virgin Voyages Brilliant Lady. There it is. There you go, right there. We got some hardware. And a nice tour of the ship and pretty nice lunch too. So it's beautiful, beautiful ship. They are actually they're repositioning the boat up to Alaska. So as of right about now, they're heading towards San Francisco for tomorrow and on up to Seattle after that. So prepping for the season continues. We're full throttle with that. Today, Harbor Maintenance, they launched at least 3, maybe 4. I lost track in all the traveling around. So floats for the club dinghy docks, the casino. So we're getting ready for summer there. You probably know the swim lines are in. Tomorrow, the canoe floats will go in. And the canoes back out on those floats as well. End float and shoreboat float will be back next week. End float got hauled out today, so it's getting some maintenance, and then it'll come right back over here and get installed next week. Tuna Club, Yacht Club floats, they're all in, ready to go, ready for business. And last, but certainly not least, next week we are scheduled to do some joint training with Baywatch Avalon and the Navy. So now the stats for April, we had 813 arrivals for a total mooring night count of 3,303, which is about 10% over last April. So the plus side continues. Call-wise, we had 2 emergency medicals since the last time we met, 3 emergency calls, 10 enforcements, 2 LASD assists, and 184 security patrols. Any questions?
Would you mind sharing a little bit about the accident on the cruise ship and your department's involvement with that?
The one last week, we're
Yes,
talking about that
yes.
one. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure most people heard there was an accident on the cruise ship, involved a female, and a fatality. So it occurred, in U.S. waters, basically. So it was investigated by a federal law enforcement agency, and then we were asked, Captain King and his department, we assisted them in transferring the body to Air 5, and it was taken back over town.
Yeah, thank you. I had no idea that we were involved with assisting with that, so that was very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank
All
you.
good? Okay.
Good evening, Council. Matt Baker, Finance Director. I don't have anything tonight other than the presentation coming up, unless there's any questions.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Council, Madam Mayor. It's been a while since I've been up here due to some vacation time and being sick. So I want to report out on kind of some of the stuff that's happened this last month. I'll try to be as brief as I can with each one instead of giving the amount of detail that I usually do. On April 4th, we hosted our annual Easter egg hunt at the beautiful Descanso Beach. It was a picture-perfect day for the community as we handed out over 300 bags of candy to local families as well as visitors alike. Disney cruise ship was in town that day. They loved it. We had a special visit from Hoppity the Easter Bunny, who stopped to take photos with the kids. We would like to thank the Island Company for partnering with us again to make this a beloved tradition in such a wonderful setting. On April 10th and 11th, the Island played host to the Wild Buffalo Race, a single-man outrigger event sponsored by Puakea. Crossing the channel from Avalon to Newport Beach, the race saw more than 40 teams take to the water to officially kick off the Skora one-man season. What makes this event truly stand out is the commitment to the environment. Alongside the competition, organizers hosted a sustainable initiative that successfully cleared over 300 pounds of trash from our shores. A huge thank you to SCORE and Puakea for bringing such a high-energy, eco-conscious event to our community. On April 18th, we hosted a community bike event dedicated to teaching essential safety skills to our local youth. With the support of the Avalon Sheriff's Department Project Bike Love and volunteers from SageWorks, approximately 20 children successfully navigated the safety course. We were also joined by Miguel Bonilla, who assisted families with bicycle registrations throughout the day. This event was a fantastic starting point, and we look forward to building on the success to make it even bigger and better next year. During spring break, we partnered with the Catalina Conservancy to host an immersive backcountry experience for local youth. Participants explored the island's interior while diving into marine biology, practicing essential survival skills, and enjoying plenty of hiking and swimming. This free program was a huge hit, reaching its full capacity of 30 students each day for all 3 days. In addition, we teamed up with the Outdoor Club it's actually the Outdoor Adventure Club, to offer a dedicated archery workshop. This session also reached its maximum of 15 participants, providing a unique opportunity for kids to learn a new skill at no cost. We are excited to announce that we will be collaborating with both the Conservancy and the Outdoor Adventure Club again for upcoming summer day camps. Some programs that are currently running through the city up at Tremont Hall is Kids Jiu-Jitsu, Adult Jiu-Jitsu, a new women's self-defense course, karate for kids, dance, and T-ball being up at Joe Machado Field. To go to cityofavalon.com for more information. This past Wednesday, April 29th, our prime timers enjoyed a captivating falconry experience at Descanso Beach Club. All 19 participants had a front row seat to watch a massive hawk, falcon, and owl maneuver with incredible precision and grace. It was a thrill to see these majestic birds up close, and we are happy to report that everyone returned from the encounter unharmed. We want to extend a sincere thank you to Dave Long and the Falconry Experience team for providing our seniors with such an exciting educational afternoon. May 1st, this last Saturday, just like Jackie said, we had the return of the Old Man Rugby. These are men who are 40 and above. There was over 100 of them, 8 teams participating over 9 hours of play. They had great fun. No one got seriously injured, except after hours, after visiting our local breweries.
And the night before.
This Tuesday is Cinco de Mayo. There is a lot going on. First, St. Catherine of Alexandria is presenting the pilgrim image of Our Lady Guadalupe. She'll be presented with a mass on Wrigley Stage along with some dancers and performers. And that is going on at 2:30 till 3:30. And then from 3:30 to 4:30, they will have the performers. At 4:30, the annual Cinco de Mayo community celebration will happen at the Casino Theater. This is the first time it will be at the casino, so again, we are happy to see, as we partner with the Island Company again, to bring some wonderful events, community events, especially in such beautiful areas. With performances by local folklorical dance teams, including performances by the TK through 5th grade classes, doors open at 4 p.m. Show starts at 4:30. You can continue to celebrate downtown at 6 p.m. on Wrigley Stage with a performance by Grupo de Ballet Terabella, or at the museum where there will be mariachis and Ballet Folklorico Quetzal will also be performing there. So plenty of places to be enjoying Cinco de Mayo. On Monday, May 11th, the YMCA Youth in Government Program will host a candidate forum, offering a unique opportunity for our youth to engage directly with local leadership. This event allows the community to hear from those running for office, while our students play an active role in the future of our local government. That means these kids that come up with the questions, They were vetted. We kind of narrowed it down to be a little bit more specific and neutral, and they will present those questions to the candidates. The forum will be moderated by our own local librarian, Mr. Paul, with the following schedule. City council candidates will be up here from 4:30 to 5:30. Again, we do want the public to come and watch. And then from 5:30 to 6, we will have a break, and then we'll bring in the mayoral candidates from 6 to 7 p.m. We are excited to bring this important civic event to the community and look forward to seeing the next generation of leaders in action. Next up, we have an opportunity to apply for a grant. It's an SPP grant proposal, and I have Kanawha Park and Veterans Park as part of this, and I'll explain why. So the SPP grant, which is the State Park Project, it's the Office of Grants and Local Services, is releasing $188.5 million for the State Park Development and Community Revitalization Program, otherwise known as the SPP, round number 5. SPP aims to create new parks and expand recreation opportunities in critical underserved communities across California. Eligible projects must include development or a combination of acquisition and development to create a new park, expand an existing park, or renovate an existing park. So we decided to pursue the idea of Kanawha through Veterans Park. Actually we're expanding it through all the way to include Old Ben's Park as well as the Elbow. And the reason we've chosen this is we own it. To be able to build somewhere, we have to own the property. And currently right now, there's really not much properties for sale to create a park for acquisition. So we've chosen Kanawha through Veterans Park. This fulfills expansion of the park. It fulfills renovation of the park. The idea is to create a more cohesive appeal to that space. And also, since we're building out the mole project, we just thought that whole area could be revitalized and be more welcoming for our people coming to visit. So currently right now, you can see it looks like this. You have, when you come into town, you can see Kanawha Park where the bench seats are, and then you have a swing set. Then you have the section where the directions where people are going to go across the street, and that part kind of has to stay the same. And then you have an empty space, right? Kind of not really utilized park space that can be used as park space. Then you have Veterans Park. And we think and believe it would be better utilized if we did something like this, where we opened that space up and we made it kind of a soft recreational space where passive, where people are waiting, because they do that anyways. They already take up our park space when they're there. Oh, what happened to the... And create that kind of an passive, little board games. We'll have a little library back there, but a nice open seating area. And then next to it is kind of redo Veterans Park. Because the way Veterans Park right now looks, and just the whole build out of it doesn't feel very reverent. And we like to have it, kind of give it a little bit more honor. And these are just ideas that I have. We will be having community outreach to find out what people would like. We'd still have that midsection, and then we would move the park over and the swing set over, so it's actually next to the play park. Mm-hmm. And then next to the basketball court, next to the volleyball court, because now that becomes the community park space, right? We'd redo a little bit of Ben Park too, and we'll talk about how we can add more seating space and make it just a little more inviting, as well as the redoing of that elbow and adding a little more passive recreational space there. So the next The next steps is we have to have 5 community outreaches. And so we're suggesting we're going to have a brainstorming session where we'll invite everybody to talk about what they would like to see in those spots and how they would actually like to have it rearranged. That's just what I think right now, but it'd be nice to hear what the community has to say. Then we'll have an on-site where people can be on site and see how that kind of works and feels. We'll reach out to the veterans. I think it's important to hear them. I've heard a lot of them already talk about that space. It was the original reason I thought of all this, is how I can redo veterans, and then realized we need to do that whole area. And then one of the parts that they do want us to do is also speak to tribal leaders. It's part of the process that we have to do, and to kind of get their input as well. And then we'll have another community meeting where we talk about the findings and last input. Then after that, starting in June, when the grant opens up, we can have all that stuff ready to go. And we'll work with Townsend Public Affairs and Aliana Gonzalez here, who works for their grants, in applying for that grant. So it's not guaranteed. It's a good start. Townsend believes it's a project that could be well funded, because it's not going to be as expensive as what most people are going to try to do. We're just rearranging spaces and putting new product in, right? So all we're asking for is that we can go ahead and pursue that grant, and if you're willing to revitalize that area, looking for direction from council.
I have one question. When is the application going to be due?
Currently, right now, they're doing. Originally, it was supposed to be last November. Then they pushed it, and then they pushed it, and now they're doing another meeting that I'll be going to in late May, and they're to talk about last inputs with it, and then it's supposed to start in June. They're supposed to release it in June. They said the latest being August. They haven't released it yet, but it has to be released this year. It has to be.
Okay.
But the thing that they asked us to do was to go ahead and go out into your community and do these community outreaches.
Right. Okay.
So when it comes out, you're ready to go, and as early as you can apply, the better.
Because they're more likely to approve something that's shovel-ready, right?
100%, and it must be shovel-ready.
Right.
Yes.
And so this is the only area that we're looking at? That's like.
Currently,
we own?
yes, right, because we own Avalon's Kids Park, and there's a lot that we built over here that was used with another grant, so we actually can't remove those items. And so we own this, we own Joe Machado Field, and we own that whole.
That's true.
Yeah, we don't own Machine Gun Park, so we can't revitalize Machine Gun Park, because I had ideas for that one.
First thought was, the pool!
The pool, yeah. If we had a,
Pool in somewhere, but I know that
yeah.
that strip is not nearly big enough for.
yeah,
for
yeah.
Right.
We had another area. Oh, well.
Yeah, we don't at this
You
point.
can add,
But we will.
Yeah.
I'm in favor.
Yeah, go for it.
go for it. All right, perfect.
Yeah. How much are you thinking of? Do you have to put a dollar amount to it, or? is it just-
And in the end, we will. Once we apply for the grant, we will have to put a dollar amount to it. We can ask up to $8 million. So maybe we put a community center at the elbow. I don't. But I don't think it's not. I can't foresee it being more than $2 million. And that might be a little bit high, but I'd rather go high than go low.
Have you coordinated with Bob Greenlaw on this?
He knows that this is something that
Okay.
we're looking forward to do.
Okay, so if it's due in, maybe the application's due in June, or maybe it's due in August, okay, then they would
No,
award
they're opening up the application process.
either
Yeah.
June or August. And then how long? What's
4
the-
months.
4 months to
from the time
apply?
that they open it. That's why they're asking you to get in your meetings now, because it's hard to do 5 in
Right,
4
yeah.
months.
I guess my thought is, depending on the timing of that, we also have the mole going on. So once they award the grant,
Right.
what is we don't know what their completion date would necessarily be, right?
You have up to two years to complete the project.
Oh, sweet,
So if we add this alongside what's happening at the mole,
Right.
You're looking at probably the first year we wouldn't be able to start building, because a lot of that site's going to
Exactly.
be used as a place of storage, right?
Staging,
No,
for that
exactly,
project.
okay.
which will be great because we can flatten that area out and start,
Yeah.
and be able to start new. But, yeah.
Move forward.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, excellent.
Last but not least, a special announcement for the 4th of July. As we celebrate our 250th anniversary of our country, but also we see it as a way of celebrating our community, right? The best of our community. As we celebrate the best of the United States, we want to be able to celebrate what's the best of our community. And to me, a person who represents the best of our community, who's constantly, who's at almost at everything that's happening, every community event, volunteers for every community event, is such a welcoming person to our visitors, is great to the kids of our community. She's a member of the Friends of the Library. She's a phenomenal person, I think best represents of what's best in this community, and is Val Schaefer. So we would like to ask Val Schaefer to be our Grand Marshal this year for the 4th of July. Any questions?
Yeah, we're going to ask her who's she going to dress up to be on the 4th of July parade.
You've already taken Betsy Ross.
I know. Anyway, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes. Your report was action-packed. Thank you. Okay. That was very nice. Okay, there she is, Assistant City Manager. Okay, Val, get on the phone and call your daughter.
She'll have me dressed in something.
I know she will.
All right, good evening, Mayor and City Council. Some April stats from Code Enforcement. They issued, Jocelyn Francis, Assistant City Manager. Over 400 citations issued for the month of April. Code Enforcement, Public Works, and the Sheriff's Office shipped off 9 vehicles over town to Kruger Tow. Code Enforcement wrote 14 case reports, issued 20 red tag notices, responded to 25 animal control calls for service, 35 emergency calls for service. And then up at the front, the folks, the vehicle clerk, processed over 190 vehicle permits and 130 subsidy applications and renewals. An update on the landfill project. We're getting very close for a public hearing to open, and I'll be sure to share that with our community and public. So we had a meeting on Thursday of last week, went really well with LA County Regional Planning, Public Works. Supervisor Hahn's office has been a really key partner in helping push this project forward. So I would imagine, like in the next week or two, I'll have more information on that. Also on Thursday, on April 23rd, bids closed for the Civic Center housing project. We received bids for phases 3B and 3C, and I wanted to announce that U.S. Offsite Building Company is the apparent low bidder for both phases. We'll be returning to council at a later date regarding the feasibility analysis of the project and staff recommendations on how to proceed. And then just have a brief presentation on Earth Day. For those of you that didn't make it, it was on April 22nd, and just have some fun slides and pictures to share with everyone. So by the numbers, we had over 30 community volunteers participate, over 60 city staff members, and over 20 CR&R sustainability team members came to the island to help. We were at 3 different locations throughout town, People's Park across the street, the Casino Dive Park, and Catalina Adventure Headquarters, formerly the Nature Center. We had sponsors, right? Care for Catalina, Scuba by Design, Catalina Diver Supply, Catalina Conservancy, Catalina Island Company, CR&R, Avalon Environmental, Blue World, Avalon Rotary, and Wet Spot Rentals. So we thank all of our partners for helping us host the Earth Day event. And the trash derby by the numbers, 620 pounds of recycling, 640 pounds of waste that included some hazardous waste materials, for a total of over 1,200 pounds removed. This is all litter that was picked up by our volunteers, by city staff throughout the day. So absolutely incredible. So it kicked off. Scuba by Design and the Catalina Island Swim Club got in the water around 7 a.m. on that day and picked up trash in the water along Descanso and Hamilton Cove. And then SoCal Edison and the CR&R sustainability team kicked it off at 9 a.m. at the Catalina Adventure headquarters. And then there's some picture of the city team at People's Park. The litter weighting and sorting was done by CR&R sustainability team members. We had 2 3-yard dumpsters for the event, and they were both full and at capacity, plus a little extra collected. Kudos to the Avalon Fire Department and Catalina Island Search and Rescue for scaling a couple of the hillsides around town and getting bottles and cans. Some of the cans were probably from the 1940s, 1950s, so they'd been there a really long time and traversing through the brush and cactus and whatnot. And then just some more pictures from our volunteers and city staff out there participating in the event. And then just want to say congratulations to Vano Peguero, Aliana Gonzalez, and Mark Fisher for the individual prize top award winners for first, second, and third. Amazing how many bottles and cans were collected. But yeah, thank you to everybody who participated. And just a reminder, do your part, right? So certainly use the Olin's Cube, a reminder that we have this CRV redemption system on the island. It's coming up on a year anniversary. You get 5 cents or 10 cents per bottle or can, depending on the size. And if you don't want to use the Olin's Cube, that's okay, but be sure to put your recyclables into the recycling bins all around town. This is very rough math based off of some Google searching and research, but I estimate that there was roughly 15,000 to 20,000 bottles and cans collected that day. I mean, that's over $1,000 of CRV. I mean, people are they're throwing money away, right? So I went, kind of related, I went on a short walk from here up to, this is before Earth Day, but from here up to Birds Park. I had a Vaughn's paper recycling bag. I filled it with bottles and cans that were on the roadway. I took it to the Olin's machine. $1.25. Thank you very much. CRV redemption. So it's so important, obviously, to recycle for so many reasons. We have a year left on the life of the landfill. All these recyclable materials are shipped over town to Stanton, where they're sold to a variety of companies for recycle and reuse efforts. And you're throwing money away. Literally just, take it to the cube. Feel free to reach out to me. Would love to train anybody who hasn't used it before. You can download the app. If you don't have a smartphone, we do have cards available for pickup at City Hall. There's no charge to participate in the program. So, yeah. So just a huge thank you to everybody. And if you missed it or you participated and you just want more, second Sunday of every month from 9 to 11 a.m., there's a group of us. We meet up at Wrigley Stage. We hand out the litter picker-uppers, gloves, and bags for litter pickup around town. So thank you.
Thank you. That was very, 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 very.
Jacqueline, how often does CR&R pick up the Olin's Cube?
So right now it's been a little bit slower. So Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, they'll collect at the machine.
So I wound up having to finally just throw away, in the recycle bin. But I had 2.5 bags, and every single time I logged on, full. I was like, okay. So a month went by, and I was like, my cats are knocking it over and all this, so I was just like, okay, I'll start over at a later date, but that was a problem for me. So I don't know if other people are experiencing the same kind of thing, but I mean, it's full, which is cool because people are using it, but
Yeah.
empty it.
Yeah, I've been, I feel like we've been doing a better job working with CR&R. There's a local handyman on the island who's been trained on how to fix the machine too. So sometimes when it's red, it's not necessarily full, it just needs service. So maybe it's a can got in there weird, and so it's a troubleshooting thing that needs to happen. So I encourage folks to use the mobile application. You can put in support requests if you're like, hey, it's been red for 2 days, like someone needs to know about this. I try to keep tabs on it, obviously, and Olin's is really responsive in sending someone out to fix it. So yeah, I feel like there was a period of time where there was a component in the machine that was broken for a while, and it took a couple weeks to get that part from Overtown here. But since that's been installed, I think it's been working really great the last couple months. It's been my personal, like I said, I do use it. Go to the grocery store, put my bottles and cans in there, but
Right.
and
Yeah.
feel free to reach out to me if something's amiss. And then also too, we are in the works of getting 2 additional cubes on the island.
Oh,
so
cool.
I think that'll help as we get into busier months.
So when the machine was broken, before that little part on the app, would it still register full instead of just the little round circle being red?
Unfortunately, it just shows red, and that means it's full or it's not working for some reason or another. So I've
Okay.
talked to Olin's about how we can maybe get the messaging a little bit more clear on the machine itself, or through the app when there's a difference. Like it's down because of mechanical failure or because it's full. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because, my account, I think I'm up to $7. So, I'd like to go back to it.
No, at least, I feel like it's been working pretty good the last couple weeks. So.
All right, cool. Thanks.
Have we been looking at locations for the additional 2 machines?
Yeah, we've been looking at we've been looking at different locations, either adjacent to like the Vaughn's location or throughout town, and maybe areas where it might be more convenient for others that are a little bit further outside the city. Ideally, it would be like city property or a partner like Vaughn's who's willing to host the cube. So if you have any ideas, let me know. Nothing's set in stone yet, so yeah.
All or the pier.
Right.
We own those.
Yeah.
Yes, I would love the mole, but maybe after.
Well, yeah. Right.
I think that's like the ideal.
Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you. City manager?
Thank you, Mayor, Council, residents. I'm going to focus my report tonight on really the importance of us, the city, engaging in our county, state, and federal partners. Between last week and this coming week, it's really just condensed into, ramped up into about a week and a half span. So last Friday, the mayor and I and Jocelyn Francis had an opportunity to meet with the LA County Superior Court staff, and I want to say that the Honorable Sergio Tapia, who is the presiding judge in LA County Superior Court, and just to put this in perspective, they have over 500 judges in LA County Superior Court, and he is the presiding judge of all of that entire community. His soon replacement when his term is over, Honorable Ricardo Ocampo, came with him, and then Honorable Nicole Heisman, the judge for our court here in Avalon, was also there. I would say they had about 10 additional staff members, including the court CEO. We had about an hour and a half, 2-hour meeting with them down at the courthouse, focusing on really where the court's going out here, which right now they've rolled back from 2 days a week or 2 days a month court to 1 day a month court. And we had reached out with concerns for that because one, we didn't want that to further erode and them not to have any presence here, and what the direction is going in the future, because I think our residents are being put a little bit behind the 8 ball by not having the court here. And when you take away court services, my fear is we start to lose mental health services, we start to lose other social services that go along with that. I'd say, you know, that meeting was extremely positive coming out of that. Judge Tapia's goal is to not cut back, but to advance those services and maybe do it in a little a better way. We discussed options to provide those services, such as creating a community justice center. They're open to that out here, which would involve having an office or a space that would have a direct line computer directly to the court system over town. It's not asking an inquiry, it's going into it and getting a live person on the other end that can walk you through doing a number of things that right now, while you might be able to do some of those online, it'll be significantly easier, such as landlord-tenant actions, small claims actions, issuance and extensions of protection orders for either assault victims or domestic violence victims, access to the other court systems, and if we can get both the DA and the defense attorney involved, we can make access for our victims and witnesses here so they don't have to go to Long Beach or over town for pretrials and things like that. If a case goes to trial, they'll obviously still have to go, but it'll save significant time and money if we're able to pull this off. And this isn't something that's a year or 2 years down the road. They're interested in doing this as quickly as possible. We even walked from the courthouse up here to City Hall and looked at possible space that they'd be willing to share in the cost of building out space here, to have a space that if they feel, or if we feel our residents are more comfortable coming to City Hall, then they would do it here rather than having them go to the courthouse down there. So I walked away from that meeting feeling very, very positive of the direction that we were going, and very impressed that they threw really that much horsepower at us last week, that everybody was in the room listening to our concerns, walked away with notes, had some follow-up afterwards. It was extremely positive. The next item is this Wednesday, May 6th. We're going to have Senator Adam Schiff and his staff visiting the island. Assemblymember Lowenthal, Josh Lowenthal will be joining them, and also Hector De La Torre, Executive Director of Gateway Cities COG, will be with them. It's great to have this opportunity. I know Hector has been working for months, if not longer, trying to get Senator Schiff out here, and then all of a sudden it happened late last week. We get a call, that's going to happen, it's going to happen this Wednesday, and you know, all the way through today, we were still kind of trying to finalize and work with them on an agenda and logistics and getting transportation set up. So we really appreciate them coming. We'll take it anytime, and we're trying to get them in front of as many stakeholders here on the island as we can. Reached out and worked out with the hospital today. They've been able to carve some time, so we're going to get them up to the hospital on Wednesday, talk to them not only about the existing facility, but their future facility funding and some of the challenges that they're seeing, talk about our major infrastructure problems. They're going to visit SCE and take a tour of Edison, and just get as much in as they can here. I wish I could get them in front of every possible group that would like to meet with them, but hopefully this is the first of repeated visits, because what we've seen with, for example, Congressman Garcia, he has been out here a number of times, and he'll continue to come out here, and his staff was out here a week and a half ago, and talking with them, they're talking about having quarterly office hours here that we'd arrange at City Hall, where they would bring VA representatives and Social Security representatives out here and bring the people here to save us the time to go over town. So those things are really working, and we appreciate all our elected officials that are willing to do that. Now, that being said, on Friday, on May 8th, this Friday, at 11 a.m., State Senator Lena Gonzalez will be here. She's going to be down on the Green Pier at 11 a.m. to present us with the ceremonial check for $1 million that she really championed for us and advocated to get us for the replacement decking on that Green Pier. We knew we had to do it. We just were struggling with trying to get the funding for that. So for her to come up with this, and we've already signed the agreement for those funds. That's already in place. We're excited to get going on that. Our goal
in a perfect timing would be we start that late October, early November this year, and have that done before next season. So if you have the opportunity to come out, anybody that's out there, the art fair starts shortly thereafter, so come out at 11 o'clock. Thank Lena Gonzalez, Senator Gonzalez with us, Friday at 11 a.m. So that's all the things that have happened in the last week and this week. So lots going on.
A lot is going on. Thank you very much. Do we have a city attorney on the line?
I'm on via phone, and I will be there at the next meeting to meet with candidates, and also we'll be having the appeal hearing on the one of our the mole project. So it'll be an interesting meeting.
Okay, great. We'll see you then. And when's the baby coming?
August 3rd.
Oh, okay.
Tentatively. I mean, you know, plus or minus.
Okay. Thank you. Council member reports.
I'll go first. I had the opportunity of attending Cal City's Leaders Summit in Sacramento. Wednesday was spent lobbying our state senator and our assembly member's office. Great conversation with Senator Gonzalez, and great conversation with Assemblyman Lowenthal's staff. One of our main concerns was he is sponsoring legislation in regards to short-term rentals at a time of need, that all rules and regulations would go away. We'd have no control. The mayor of Big Bear joined me, and we both voiced our concerns as to what that would do to communities like us and them. Thursday was the actual conference, and the sessions that I did attend were how local governments can partner with youth for lasting change. Rumor has it, tackling misinformation, which was a very interesting session, and building family-friendly cities, child care as critical infrastructure, which is also something that, being on our Community Services Policy Committee, is something that we're also looking at. And then on Friday, they did an AI applications in local government, empowering public safety, transportation, urban planning, and citizen services. And one of the things about that, they did a tabletop where they gave us a situation we had to discuss, and they asked AI. AI came up with stuff, but it was just like cold. It was just this. Whereas we were talking about, we could do this with it, and our part of it was much easier. They said for those people using AI in cities, what they're focusing on is you go to them to get kind of a basic breakdown, and then you work from there with the human component of putting that in. Do not count on AI giving you the answers. And then the one session that I wish everyone had seen was the closing session, which was 13 ways to kill your community. And this gentleman went over 13 ways of communities. He gave examples of 13 communities that pretty much killed themselves because they just didn't listen. It was a great session. And I thank the citizens of Avalon for allowing me to go. It's always great to go and get more experience and to learn more from your fellow council members and mayors.
So I'm curious, can you give me an example of just one of the 13 ways?
Okay. They've talked about, people are always impressed. They're always talking about, no, we're for development. We're for, encouraging businesses to come. But he goes, when you actually get down to it, you have businesses that are saying, yes, I'm pro-business, as long as it doesn't interfere with my business.
Right.
So yeah, we can bring that in. Oh, no, we can't have that. No, because that's going to impact my business. My favorite was 2 cities that were like 2 miles apart, populations of 8,000 each. They were given the opportunity by a company that they were going to bring a plant in, and the plant that they were going to build was going to do all the stuff, and it was going to benefit both communities. The president of the company said, I need you to work together to come out come together and come up with a plan to help us do this, because we want to do this here, and whatever we do is going to benefit both cities. Well, This city, and then she goes away. This city starts complaining about this city. This city starts complaining about this city because this city did this and this city. So when she does finally come, she goes, they have a town hall, they start talking about it, and she does her presentation. She goes, what do you have, how are we gonna make this happen? This city starts complaining about this city starts complaining about this city. She got up and she left.
Wow.
Both cities of 8,000 now have a population of 800 and 500 because these cities would not work. And the reason that it happened was something that happened in 1922.
Oh my God.
Over 100 years ago. And they just could not let it go.
Wow.
Instead of working as two communities to improve the area, they were only focusing on themselves.
Wow.
The Hatfield and McCoys.
Yeah. It was great. It was great.
Yeah.
Involving youth in what we do, involving people who have been in positions of developing programs and things for cities. When they retire, you still keep in contact with them because they still have that knowledge, and it just helps everybody else continue on. So it was a great learning experience there.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah.
Sounds like it. Well, on those heels, I'll go next. I don't have much, but I am proud of our community. We have a very tight community and a very proud community and a very engaged community, I believe. And so this past Friday, we were going to have a May Day march along with the rest of the country. But I think given that it was a Friday and just a lot of stuff going on, hardly anybody showed up. But I do really appreciate those that did. There was 5 of us, small but mighty. But we also decided that given the atmosphere in the country these days, people might take a small group as fodder. So we decided just to step back and go for the next one. We did Lisa and I made great signs. But, and then the Earth Day thing was just like, oh my God, it was so great, the trash collection and all that stuff, but at the same time, it breaks my heart that people in this town, I mean, we do have a lot of pride and all this stuff, but where is the trash coming from? I mean, we have trash receptacles all over the place. Use them. Pack it in, pack it out.
Can I say something?
Sure, of course.
And I don't want to. That stuff has to get up there somehow. So at night, when our youth go up there to drink, why is nobody going and patrolling to see what they're doing up there?
Yeah, right, at the very least.
It doesn't get up there by itself.
So you're talking by Mount Ada, or are you talking by the gate?
Anyway. For 18 and a half years, I got to listen to the parties at Mount at Buena Vista Point. And if I could hear them in my apartment, then they were really loud. If I couldn't hear them, they were fine.
Right.
I actually had one night where I did call the sheriff's department. They came up, and you hear all these bottles as everybody starts. But there should be some type of patrol up there. So.
I agree. But also, if you live here, use the damn trash can.
And that's the other thing, is that the bottles are sitting right by the trash can.
Oh, I know.
And the
it's so
trash
funny.
can's empty.
It's so funny. Yeah, because I do notice over town, because I'm a smoker, but I'm also a very responsible smoker. So when I'm done with my butt, I'm looking around. A lot of cities, like little strip malls and all that stuff, they don't even have trash cans outside. I can't just twirl the ash out and throw the butt away. But this town, I'm looking right here at trash cans, and they're recycle and trash, and they're all over the place. So I just appeal to the community to make a more concerted effort. And if you have kids that are out there partying and stuff like that, not to your knowledge, I'm sure, or adults, but yeah, just be responsible and throw it away. So anyway, there we go. And then I am going to the Gateway Cities COG in Lisa's stead on Wednesday, so I'll be out at the plant with the senator and the assemblyman and Hector, and so I'll probably be on the same boat with Hector going back to get to the meeting at the COG. So
I'll tell you all about that next time.
I'll go ahead and go next. Just because we just spoke on it, is there any way, as a city, I know the chamber tried as well, but I know CRNR, Julie let us know that they have an educational program. They would just have to partner with the school. So is there any way that we can, kind of push the school a little bit? Because she did reach out and hasn't heard anything back. So if we can also step in and try to push for the educational program, the earlier we can get that going for the kids. I mean, we have to redevelop the culture of taking care of the island, your home, because I know that's growing up, that's what we heard, that's the last thing you wanted to do, is leave your trash behind. Yeah. It was embarrassing. So, that's something I would like to push for. And then attending all the things this week, had to get a lot of coverage at the school. I was like, it's a lot's happening, I'm so sorry. But attending Contract Cities next weekend, I'm excited for that conference. We have, tomorrow we actually are hosting, the YMCA is hosting 50 executives from all across the country, and our Avalon delegates are going to get the opportunity to help host that. I know that one of our delegates, which is our president, Stephanie Rodriguez, is going to speak, along with Dave and I believe Tim as well. And I believe there's someone else. Let's see what else we have. Women Forum scholarships are officially open for our senior girls. That is open until May 11th, and then we, of course, hold our annual interviews for the girls until May 22nd. And also wanted to give a shout out to our boys volleyball. They are playing as we speak. It's second round CIF against Bethel Baptist.
Excellent. Okay.
Had the opportunity to meet with Congressman Garcia's field rep, Gus, with Councilmember De La Rosa last week. So that was great to hear some of the conversations you had as well. And had asked him to meet with a few other people in town too while he was here. He is a veteran, has intricate knowledge of Veterans Affairs and assistance. So I'm hoping that'll help. Mention that the VFW wasn't in place anymore here, so that there are some veterans who could use that assistance and even just camaraderie. So hoping that that's beneficial. We'll want to say thank you to Mary for covering the COG meeting for this week. I'm sorry I can't make it. I'll be attending the SCAG meeting this week, the conference this week, and then Contract Cities next week as well. And looking forward to welcoming everyone. I'm equally proud of and thankful both to our council and to city staff for working so diligently to get our representatives here more often. I was looking back through things, and I don't think a sitting U.S. senator has visited the island, at least since we've lived here since '86. So it's really encouraging to get to see us seeing our representation come and be here with us to see where we live and how we live and what we need and how they can help and how we can help them. So super appreciative of that. So I think now more than ever, it's important, especially in election season, to both understand how democracy works and understand that you get to be represented. And I know that in California especially, that can seem slightly one-sided because so many of our spaces and states are relatively progressive. But your senator represents you no matter what party you prescribe to or don't prescribe to. It's important right now because of things happening to speak up, to keep voting rights intact and elections intact, and to make sure that you're and we are making those acquaintances and relationships grow to be able to ensure that we keep those rights as citizens for all of us. So.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I attended all the fun stuff.
Yeah, fun stuff.
And including the Superior Court meeting, which was very helpful. So we're going to continue with oral communications. This is an opportunity for people to speak on items that are not on the agenda. You'll be limited to 2 minutes and no action will be taken. I see a librarian. I see a hospital.
Hello there, Paul Birchall, Avalon Library. Hello, everybody. A lot of things happening at the library. Little things, not like the gigantic things everybody else is doing, but little is good too. We're a city, we got room for it. I am going to do a lot of Cinco de Mayo fun over the next few days. Tuesday, we're going to do some Mexican bark painting. Not really bark, it's crumpled up paper, but it's a nice effect. I've seen it. Hush now. Then on the day after, we're going to do papel picado. which I will make little shapes and hang them up. It'll be lovely. And then some metal work painting on the day following. So like 3 days of little crafties at about 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Coming up on Wednesday, we're going to show a little movie. We're going to show The Water Horse. Just put up my little screen, bring a projector, show a movie. It'll be nice. I have popcorn. Come in the evening. It's pretty chill, as the young folks say. Coming up on May 20th, I've invited Franklin Haynes Marionettes. They're going to do a program there. They're lovely. They're going to do something called the Magic Box, and the marionettes are great. Please bring your real little ones. Everybody loves a puppet. I wanted to remind about our Everything You Wanted to Know About Catalina, but we're afraid to ask. Our history talks with Chuck Liddell and Sandy Putnam. They're really cool. They're turning into sort of debates, and a lot of the locals come and hang out and offer their memories and stuff. It's actually turning into something really cool. I'm very fond of the series. At the end of the month, I'm doing 2 book clubs this month. Hamnet from last month, I had to cancel that one because that was the dress rehearsal night for my play, and I couldn't be there. By the way, thanks community. If I just want to send out on behalf of Mr. Sean and the theater company, this is not library, on behalf of Mr. Sean and the theater company, thank you for coming out to the play. It was really awesome to see everybody in it. It was a tremendous time. But yeah, so Hamnet is the book club at the end. And then on Wednesday, May 27th, part of the LA County One Book, One Coast book club is They Called Us Enemy. It's a graphic novel by George Takei. We're going to have a little book club about that. And I'm going to show a little movie about George Takei's life. That's going to be on Wednesday the 27th. And that's all I think I have time for. Thank you very much. Just a reminder that Ironwood, the next Michael Connelly novel, set on Catalina, is coming out it comes out May 19th, and I'm fixing on having that as a book club in June. Everybody wants to read that because I suspect some of us will be in it. So there you go.
The only disappointment with the book right now is the cover art.
Yeah.
The U.S. cover art does not show Catalina.
It doesn't, but the European,
the European and
European
Australian
one has the
do.
casino. Yeah, I've seen it. It was the same with the other one.
Yeah.
If you get it in England, there's the casino right there. Here it's Hawaii. Go figure. But that's some marketing bozo thought that would sell better. Thank you very much for your time.
Really quick, I forgot to add, this Friday is the seniors' decision day. So whoever would like to attend, it's at 11 a.m. in the gym. And they walk down as a kindergarten student or a TK student comes down, they exchange their lays, and they say, where the seniors going next. It's really cute. So if you're available, please.
Come on up, Gail.
Thank you, Gail.
That sounds awesome. Gail from Catalina Island Health. Just a quick update in recognition of Mental Health Awareness Month, which is this month. Catalina Island Health is partnering with San Pedro Mental Health Supervisor Janice Hahn's office and the City of Avalon to host the Island Resident Wellness and Resource Fair. The event will take place this Thursday, May 7th from 12 to 3 along the waterfront on Crescent Avenue, or Front Street, as we all know. This is a free community event designed to improve access to care and connect residents with critical resources. So attendees will learn about services from Catalina Island Health, like our primary care clinic, fitness and MediSpa offerings, our sports medicine with Dr. Zamarati. She's super excited to share all kinds of information with everybody, so please come down. We'll also be doing free blood pressure checks and glucose testing. In addition, there will be on-site assistance with health insurance enrollment, including Medi-Cal, as well as information and support for families through local organizations, LA County, Child Development Center from Long Beach Unified School District, and many others. The fair will also feature resources related to housing and renters' rights, immigration assistance, mental health services, substance use prevention and harm reduction, and then we'll be giving out free naloxone and doing free fentanyl test strips that we can give out too. So it's comes with a little education so you know how to use it in case, God forbid, you would need to be in a situation like that. Residents will also have the opportunity to speak with some representatives. That's been a hot topic tonight, but the county clerk's office will be here, and then representatives from Senator Gonzalez, Assemblymember Lowenthal, and Robert Garcia's office will be here. They can help with a number of things. So definitely go and see them, because it's not just like finding out what they're doing in the state or federal level. They can help every individual with lots of different things. And then we'll have information about other local and county programs. The event will welcome and engage lots of people, so we'll have food down there, giveaways, and art projects from the museum, and we hope that everyone will join us, 12 to 3.
That is a huge group of people that you've assembled. That is incredible.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
well, I'm working with Lola. She has for the weekend like 40 or 42 booths of artists. We have about 30 tables and
Yeah.
stuff of people that can help the community. So we hope everyone shows
That's
up.
fantastic.
Thank you.
And I'm curious though, Gail, you said a while ago you were looking to bring back the health fair. Is there any movement on that?
So we're calling this a wellness and resource fair because we're doing a lot of the things that would be at the health fair. I didn't call it health fair mostly because when we say health fair, people think cheap labs. And in doing some research since 2020, the regulations have changed, so we have to regroup on how we can offer those labs for the
Okay.
community that at a different price potentially than what it would be normally. So we're actually looking at a more permanent program, which is a direct access type of way that you could go and get labs drawn. You're not associating that with a doctor. You're just going yourself and saying, I want these labs drawn, pay a certain price. And then if you wanted to talk to a doctor about it, you'd have to make an appointment. So that's potentially a really wonderful option that could be offered all year round. We just don't have it fully in place yet. We're doing all the research to make sure that we are in line with all the regulations.
Got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. No one else? Okay, it's time for a presentation by our finance director.
Good afternoon, Council. This is our second budget discussion presentation. Tonight we're going to be talking about the operating budget, specifically in the general fund and the harbor fund. The plan is for the next meeting to discuss the sewer, saltwater, solid waste fund budgets, as well as the general admin and the garage budget. So a lot of information, so trying to divide it up into more bite-sized chunks. Again, this slide's the first slide in all my budget presentations. The one bullet point I do want to emphasize tonight is that estimates will continue to be updated throughout the development of the budget process. So we're kind of giving you a sneak peek at where we're at in the budget process. I've met with the department heads as well as Dave to hear their requests, incorporate those into this draft of the budget. We are still having conversations. Things may come added in or be removed, as those conversations progress. So again, this is just a draft of where we're at in the budget. When we do present the final budget, we'll highlight what some of those changes are from what we're presenting today. But I don't expect radical changes between what we're sharing tonight and what ultimately is going to be in the operating budgets for those. So again, when I say operating budget, I'm speaking to salaries and benefits, maintenance and operations. So that would include utilities, rent, supplies, trainings, those sorts of things. Our contracted services, so in the general fund, the big contracts are the sheriff's contract as well as the chamber allocation. In the harbor, it's the lifeguard contract with the county, as well as the shoreboat and restroom and trash collection. And then also we have internal service charges that fall under our operating accounts, and that's how we divide up the costs for general admin. So for example, finance does payroll for the harbor and does payroll for the fire department. So we have to figure out a way to divide up the costs it takes to provide those services to the different departments. And so those all kind of come together with what I'm talking about with our operating expenses. And again, our goal is for our operating expenses to be covered by operating revenues, recurring operating revenues, and not one-time revenues. And so that way we can continue to operate in a sustainable manner. So the first slide here just kind of gives a breakdown of our full-time equivalent positions by department. You can see I went as far back as fiscal 20 with this slide. So that is the budget before COVID. We had a full-time equivalent headcount of 83.7. Right now in the draft budget that we're working on, we have FTE total of 77.8. It's sort of cut off on the slide, so I do apologize trying to get it all to fit on one slide. But really the proposed changes right now incorporated in the budget have to do with increased part-time hours. Right now we don't have any new full-time positions included in the budget, but we do have some requests for additional part-time hours in different departments. Again, we'll have these slides available. I know it's a lot of information on this page. This is just a breakdown of staffing at the admin and finance departments over that 7-8 year period. And I had this prepared for all of the various departments. For fire, just the asterisk is letting you know that we do it by full-time equivalent, so that's 2,080 hours. So if a part-timer has 1,000 hours, they would be 0.5 FTEs. For fire, because their standard schedule is 2,700 hours, they end up counting as 1.3 FTEs. I may change from doing it that way just because it just is kind of counterintuitive because we have 9 guys counting as 12 FTEs. But that is why we have 4 firefighters when everyone knows we have 30 in those positions. And then the asterisk down at the maintenance workers is we previously had budgeted certain maintenance workers specific to the rec department, and we moved those over into public works a few years ago. Again, looking here at public works, you can see we in fiscal 20 had 21.9 FTEs. We currently have 19.9. The two different, really, when you go over that period, is we had an admin analyst, which we now have in the admin department and not in public works. And we did have an administrative assistant within public works. The maintenance worker count is similar to where it was prior. I think we are down 1 full-time employee from that peak number. Again, planning, we contracted out now the planning director position, if you will, and the building official services. And so we just have the 1 FTE in planning currently. And similar in the harbor, if you look at fiscal 20, we had 24.9 FTEs, but 2 of those positions related to the fuel dock, which we now contract out or lease out with the provider. So if you kind of look at more of an apples to apples comparison, it's 22.9 to 21.8. And fiscal 20 was our peak as far as headcount, as far back as I can tell, and likely that was the highest headcount the city ever had. So moving into the general fund, this slide here is what I presented at the last meeting, and it shows where we're at this current fiscal year. So we entered this fiscal year with about $15.5 million in the general fund. Our operating revenues are estimated to come in about $15.1 million. Operating expenditures, if we spend everything that was budgeted, would be $13.9. Again, we had a lot of grant-funded projects, some of which are going to be delayed until the current fiscal year. And so we're expecting to enter next fiscal year, the one we were budgeting for, with approximately $14.5 million in the general fund. At the last meeting, I went over this slide in more detail, but right now I'm working under an assumption for fiscal 27 of $14.2 million in operating revenues. Again, I feel that number is conservative, but you've heard me say it a million times. I want to make sure we're budgeting at a level we feel really confident we're going to hit. And so that way, if there's a storm on a weekend in August, I don't lose sleep over what the impacts are on the budget. We had a similar approach last year. We can see we budgeted $13.7 million, but the latest estimates I think will come in closer to $15.1 million. So that 14.2 represents about 500,000 or 3.6% increase from last year's budget. So kind of looking at where we're at right now in the operating expenditures, again, those are salaries and benefits, maintenance operations, contract services, and internal services. We're looking right now at about $14 million. So we are operating in a balance function, but that 168,000 would represent essentially new fundings available for new capital projects without dipping into reserve. So, not a huge surplus, but I also, just want to stress the 14.2 million is a fairly conservative revenue estimate, and I think there's a reason to be optimistic on some of my estimates, particularly TOT and property tax might be higher than where I'd set it. But again, I want to set it at a level that we feel confident we're going to hit. So within the general fund salaries and benefits, I have a breakdown here by department, but I first want to kind of draw attention to the pie chart. I know the color scheme is probably not the best for this, but the large dark or kind of bright blue at 54%, that's wages, and the 10% is overtime. So when we're talking salaries and benefits, about 65% of those costs are directly wages to employees. But the other 35%, which is a fairly large amount or percentage, include our employer contributions, whether that's our Social Security, employer taxes, or our CalPERS contributions. It also, the city pays annually into our unfunded pension liability, our UAL. Our workers' comp citywide is approximately $500,000, and so that's another large component within there, as well as employee health insurance, the portion the city pays for is another approximately $500,000 citywide. Again, that's not specific to the general fund, but that's citywide. Actually, I believe it's $1 million citywide, about $500,000 to the general fund. So breaking it down by department, you'll see there's some movements, and one of the reasons their fire department's down, which is kind of probably would surprise a lot of people looking at it, it's really twofold. We did have a couple of retirees, and so when we do have retirees and we have newer hires, there is some savings, but a lot of the savings isn't really driven from that. CalPERS changed the way they report our unfunded pension liability, and so I changed the way I allocated those costs across the board. I'd be happy to go in more detail after this meeting, or I don't want to bore anyone with it. But I do think the way I allocated this year is kind of a fairer way to split those costs by department. So if you do have questions on that, I'm happy to talk about it, but that's why it looks like there's a savings or a decrease in fire. It's really how I split up the unfunded pension liability costs. And that means there's going to be other departments seeing an increase because it's not a decrease in spend, it's just a change in how we allocated that spend. Again, planning is another one where it's really being driven by that change in UAL formula is really what's driving that increase there. So moving on to operating expenditures. For law enforcement, again, we just have our contracted services, so we don't have anything to report. For the fire department, we had some grant-funded PPE type purchases that were included in the budget for the current year that aren't planned in the next fiscal year. Again, I need to talk with Chief on the timing of that spend, but that's right now why that estimate is down from the current year. Public Works, that includes safety supplies, gardening supplies, holiday decorations, small tools, but the biggest chunk of that Public Works, $500,000 in maintenance and operating budget, relates to utilities. So the city has gas, water, electricity responsibilities around town, and we charge that to the general fund's Public Works budget. Recreation and community services had some kind of one-time maintenance costs. So we had higher maintenance spend in the budget this current year than what we currently have planned. Again, those may change, but some of those maintenance spends I think are likely you're going to see in capital project requests. It's sometimes difficult where to draw the line of what's a maintenance project for us and then what's a capital project. So I think some of that activity is probably better reflected in our CIP plan. Just wanted to call it out just because it is 10% of our maintenance and operating spend is what we do spend on the 4th of July. So, it's a great day for the town. Not suggesting we spend less. I just wanted to draw that it is not an insignificant amount to the overall budget that we do spend for that day. So the third category, contract services, again, the bright blue, 47%, that is our law enforcement, our sheriff's contract with LA County. The other 35% of our contract spend is our chamber allocation, and that's 22% of our TOT. So right now it's based on what I estimate TOT to be at, but that could change if our TOT is higher than where we budget. So you can see those two make up, over 3/4 of our contract service spend. Other major contracts in public works include our tree trimming contract, which we are likely going to be requesting a significant increase over prior years. I think this year in the budget we had $100,000, and right now, again, it's a draft and could change. We have $150,000 we're asking for tree trimming services. Planning, there's two contracts make up the majority of that. That is our contract with Sagecrest for planning services, $200,000, and our contract with Four Leaf for building inspection services of $150,000. We do have some smaller contract spend in there. City attorney, I think, is probably the next highest, but it's significantly less than the other two. Community services, we are looking at a $20,000 increase from last year, and right now we are tentatively planning on to change or expand our software service, our recreation software. Again, we're giving a sneak peek at our budget. These could change as these discussions evolve, but right now we do have that in the budget for next year, or planning to include that in the budget. The chamber, again, I upped our TOT estimate, so then I have to up our chamber allocation, and so that is $1.7 million compared to the $1.65 budgeted this year. And then lastly, for internal services, just to help council and the public understand, what I do is I look at the relative size and activity of all our funds to kind of come up with a fair way to document how much to charge one fund versus the other. So some of the criteria I look at is the volume of transactions in a given account, kind of lets you know, or given fund, lets you know how busy or how much activity is going on. So for example, our cemetery fund, while obviously we do have activity in there, we don't have as much activity as, say, in our fire department fund. And so I weigh it based on the volume of activity. We weigh it based on the dollar spend. So, for example, we only cut 12 checks a year to the sheriff's department, but they're rather large checks relative to other departments, and so I do weigh how much we spend in a department in coming up with this allocation. Then I also look at headcount within a department. So when you think about general admin, that includes HR, that includes payroll, that includes IT, and so the number of employees in a department has a direct correlation with how much work HR is involved or how much work IT is involved with the department. And so we try to come up with a way to spread those costs out. And so for the general administration, the general fund picks up 51.5% of the total cost of admin. For insurance, it comes up with 54.2% of the total cost. And then for the garage, it pays for 55.9%. So I can provide that slide for a full breakdown for all the departments, but the numbers aren't made up. There is kind of a rationale to try to fairly split those costs between the departments. So again, for the general fund, right now, where we're looking at in the budget is revenues of 14.2 against spend of 14. So with net operating revenues right now of 168,000. Similar with the harbor, this is where we're at in the current fiscal year. We started the year with 2.4 million, and we're looking to finish the year with about 3.5 million in harbor working capital. At the last meeting, we presented a revenue update, really where the growth in harbor revenues is being driven by having the cross-channel and cruise ship wharfage increases in effect for the full year. So that's why we have a revenue estimate up 16% from last year. If you look at the other revenues, it's relatively flat, no more than 5% estimated increase from the previous year. So similar slide here, showing we have operating revenues of 12.4 million estimated for the harbor, operating expenditures of 9.9 million, with about 2.5 million in net operating revenue. While that number is high, we have a lot of planned CIP next year. between the start of the Mole project, the South Beach project, the Green Pier. And even though a lot of these projects are largely grant funded, there is still significant local match requirements for those projects. But if we weren't to do any of those CIP, we would be finishing the year with $6 million in the harbor. But obviously, that's not where we're going to be next year. So again, breaking down the harbor, it's not really a department per se because they all kind of roll up under the harbor master. Harbor admin, again, where we're talking about winners and losers with the changing of how I allocate UAL. More did get allocated to the harbor admin. And so that's really what's driving that increase in that budget for next year. Harbor patrol, harbor maintenance. So we have 3 dedicated full-time harbor maintenance personnel. Harbor sanitation, so that's largely in the summer, but that's our part-time crew there. Harbor capital, we do allocate a portion of the harbor master's time to his role overseeing capital projects in the harbor. And then public works, we split public works mostly between the general fund and the harbor fund, with a small amount also being picked up by the sewer and saltwater funds of their time. But that's what the asterisk is there to note, that that's not the full public works budget, but that's the portion that's assigned to the harbor. Again, with contract or with maintenance and operation, for the admin, that's largely our harbor insurance. So we have $164,000 in the budget. I want to say $110,000 of that is what we pay for additional insurance in the harbor. Operations budget just shy of $1 million, but $750,000 of that is utilities. So we do charge, in addition to the electricity and freshwater usage in the harbor, we do charge the harbor for sewer and saltwater and solid waste. Again, as part of the rate study, we looked at an estimate of how much trash we think the harbor generates, or how much sewer usage the harbor generates relative to a household, and came up with a proportional amount for that. Again, in theory, the restaurants in the harbor would be factored as restaurants and not in that, but we're trying to determine just harbor-generated trash, what their fair share is. And so between utilities and credit card fees, you can see of that $1 million, $850,000 of it is either utilities or credit card fees, and supplies, training, travel, gas kind of make up the other $150,000. In the capital, that's a lot of our maintenance costs, whether that's float maintenance, float storage, mooring maintenance, maintenance of premises. So our building at the harbor master's office, our buildings at the fuel dock, all those would fall under that capital maintenance category. Public Works doesn't have a whole lot in this area, and then the fuel dock, we do have a considerable amount in rent, as well as some permitting and testing costs. So that's what makes up that total. Contract services in the harbor, again, of the $2.1 million, a little over half of it is our contract with LA County Lifeguard. You can see I don't have any increase from the prior year. That's because my estimate last year was on the high side. So again, I'm hoping to have final numbers before we present the budget in June. But right now, I'm thinking I may have been too high last year. Well, I know I was too high last year, and so I'm hoping that that number will be good for this year. The shoreboat subsidy, that's a contracted amount. I do want to highlight, I believe that contract ends or is up in April of next year. So there potentially could be movement there, but I just have it at the current annual rate. Waterfront trash collection and restroom maintenance, as well as, even though it's not really a contract per se, we do group maintenance, restroom maintenance supplies. So the city does purchase the soap, toilet paper, that sort of thing. So even though it's not in the contract, we do group it with the contract supplies. Harbor computers and then other harbor contracted costs make up the rest. The decrease in other is we had beach maintenance grouped as in contracts, and so we moved that out. And so that's what's driving that decrease of $44,000 in the other category. Again, this is the internal service fund, so I touched on it a bit before within general admin. We charge 35% of the city's total general admin costs to the harbor fund. Insurance, we charge 32%. And you can see in harbor capital why we have 0 there is because the harbor does pay additional insurance for its infrastructure. And so for our floats and our ramps and our assets there. And so it didn't feel correct to charge them twice. And so they aren't charged anything for their share there because they do pay for separate additional insurance. And then the vehicle maintenance is the garage. And I did not put a total there, but it is 27.6% of the total garage cost is paid for by the harbor.
Oh, I see. Mhm.
And so the last slide here, again, is just recap. We think we're going to be entering the year with about $3.5 million in the harbor, operating revenues of $12.4 million, spend of $10 million, leaving $2.4 million in additional funds for harbor capital. So at the next meeting, I'll go into more detail as to what falls under general admin, and that's what makes up those internal service charges, as well as go over sewer, salt water, and solid waste budgets. And then we're looking at the first meeting of May to present a full draft of the budget, not to vote on, but just for council to see. And at that meeting, we'll likely be discussing any new capital improvement or status updates on our existing projects. I think for the capital improvement budget, there might be some smaller new projects in there, but I think by and large, most of the activity in our CIP plan for next year is going to be a continuation of the items that were in the budget for this year.
This last slide is absolutely wonderful. It's very much and to the point, and I don't know that you do every department within the city like that, but that is very understandable in a nutshell. I mean, because you really go into a lot of detail, which is awesome. But for someone like me, sometimes seeing that is just, that's the nice recap of everything. So if you do that with all of the departments, like admin, public works, that's, I think that speaks volumes. I don't know if y'all agree, but.
Yeah, I can definitely, and I'll make sure this is available online for anyone at home. I know I tried to print copies before, but I was putting this together minutes before the meeting, so.
I mean, no, because, I mean, a lot of those things, so we could sit there and talk about it, but there's not a lot we can do about a lot of things, like the insurance, the unfunded liabilities, and so it's good to know what those are, but you've said it all right there under salaries and benefits.
And that's one of the challenges we had during the COVID years is there's only certain areas. If you are looking to cut, we are limited in a lot of ways of what we can, whether without compromising public safety or just without breaking contracts. And so that's why it's really important when we do add new ongoing costs to make sure that it's something we can keep sustained forever, because it's
Right.
once we create something, it's hard to undo it.
Mm-hmm. And of all of these costs and revenues and expenditures, I don't believe any of that really affects the residents of Avalon. This has nothing to do with increased taxes or anything like that. But when we're going to be talking about sewer, salt, water, and trash, I would like for us to talk about how much money sewer, salt, water, and trash, with the increases that we're putting, what kind of a burden is that putting on the taxpayer? And then is there any way to alleviate that going forward for some time?
We definitely can talk about that at the next meeting. I plan to kind of give this slide equivalent, if you will, for sewer, salt, water, and solid waste, as kind of just prioritize and pick the bigger funds today. But no, I definitely think it's helpful. And we do, I can tell you, for both sewer, saltwater, and solid waste, it is our contracted services are a big chunk of that. We don't charge a ton of city time to those funds. But there are some things that, again, when we do the rate study, and we'll go over the rate study at the next meeting, but we are looking at, when we come up with that study, it's essentially looking at what the maximum rate is, but there are some things we could be looking at that, if council directs us to, that could potentially lower, if the rate study sets the maximum cost, that doesn't mean we ultimately are going to need to adopt that maximum rate. It's just setting the cap of what we could. And one of the areas that, I think probably is worth looking into, and I can bring at the next meeting, if directed, is looking at whether there's a role for the general fund to play in the solid waste landfill expansion project. I hesitate to just do a subsidy or subsidize any of our. So the whole idea behind the sewer fund or any enterprise fund is that the users are able to support it through their user charges, and that it doesn't require a subsidy of tax dollars. I know a lot of people look at the sewer, saltwater, solid waste rates, and I understand it's viewed as a tax because it is placed on the tax roll, but it really is a charge for service or a cost of service. And so the goal is for those to be self-sufficient funds where the users of that service pay for the cost of service. That being said, I do think there may be a role for a lot of the increases in there are being driven by capital needs. In the landfill, it's the landfill expansion project. But what I can do in that meeting is bring forward a couple examples because it is relevant because it's going to play into this year's budget. Looking at maybe the general fund, either loans money and then we can spread over those. So also the goal in that study was to pay for it all within the 5 years of the study. But there may be some opportunities to borrow from the general fund and spread those costs out over 20 years, which would lower trash rates or solid waste rates, or potentially have the general fund pay for some of those projects.
I know they're going to get, between Southern California Edison increases and then ours, that's pretty hefty.
I understand that. One of the challenges we do have is a lot of those a lot of those funds are either tied into our contracted services rates or capital improvement needs. And as costs go up, those contracts also go up as wages go up. But there's probably opportunities for the general fund to help those funds, and that would hopefully lower some costs to the residents.
Yeah, because my one question was, how much is that new? With all of those increases, what is that net that would come to, is it 200,000? Is it $1 million? What is it? So you can figure that out, I know, because you're good at that.
I will make sure that's covered next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, because
that's a lot.
I'm not fortunate enough to own a home, so I don't know how much it costs, but I have had people just coming out of the woodwork to say, what the heck is up with the sewer charges and stuff. So I'm glad you brought that up, Annie. We need to definitely look into that.
See if we can help in any way.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Thank you
right.
once again, Matthew.
Thank you.
And now we're going to the consent calendar.
Thanks, Matt. Consent calendar item number 1, warrants approve the disbursements for April 6, 2026 through April 24, 2026, totaling $2,165,946.43. Item 2, authorize the city manager or designee to develop and solicit a request for proposal from qualified contractors for replacement of the wastewater treatment plant lab roof and remediation and replacement of the casino showers and restrooms roof.
So,
I'll make the motion to approve items 1 and 2.
and any questions? Call for the vote?
I'll second. Okay.
Go, girls.
Go ahead.
Was that Councilmember De La Rosa for the second?
Sure. Item number 3.
All ayes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Item number 3.
Under general business, item 3 is authorized procurement of a Lucas device, striker power gurney, and power chair with Measure B funding. As Chief's walking up to the podium, just want to indicate that the city applied for and received Measure B funding from Los Angeles County Emergency Medical Services Agency, and these are the items that the chief would like to use that funding for. Chief.
Good evening. We applied for these funds and received the grant from Measure B from LA County. So this purchase is for an electric gurney. We have one in our new ambulance. Our older ambulance is higher and harder to get patients into. So this will eliminate that. We have an electric gurney. We also do have an electric stair chair, but sometimes we're on multiple calls. the electric stair chair. All this just helps with workplace with injuries.
Yeah.
And the last one is a Lucas device that will be carried on the ambulance. The paramedics have one, but when they're gone, we don't have access. So this thing's a game changer in the EMS world. So now we'll have one of our own.
Excellent. Does staff have to go to training for something like that? Is it a big deal?
Is it what? I'm sorry?
Is training for something like that? Is it?
Yeah, we are now to use it. The paramedics have one, and
Oh,
our
okay,
guys
so-
know how to use it better than they do.
Yeah, okay, all right. Any questions of our fire chief? Okay. Council?
I'll make a motion to authorize city manager to procure, per the city's purchasing policy, a Lucas 3 chest compression system, Stryker Power gurney, and Stryker Power chair that meets required specifications outlined by staff for a total not to exceed $102,730.06 in Fund 10245-6547. And 2, exempt this procurement from competitive bidding and make the affirmative finding that Stryker is sole source vendor of these devices.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Call for the vote.
All ayes.
Item number 4 under general business is approval of a rebuild for the Public Works telehandler. Jackie Cordero.
Good evening. Our telehandler is in dire need of repair. It needs new brakes, new chains. And the approximate for the rebuild is about $70,000. If we were to go buy a new one, it would be $250,000.
Wow.
And when we had the assessment for the rebuild, they actually told us that if we were to go that route, it could last another 10, 15 years easy.
Okay.
And the model of our telehandler actually is really good because we don't use it here for long distances. So and it's a necessary piece of equipment that we use on weekly basis at least, if not sometimes daily.
Okay, I'm sorry. What's a telehandler?
It's a piece of equipment that we use for a variety of activities. For example, today, it was used to put up decorations. Right,
that-
that's
okay.
the boom, the lift.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Good, thank you. I understand
Exactly.
the concept.
In the picture, when I was showing the what Public Works do, we use it to move those heavy restrooms in place. Yeah.
All right, great. Council, questions?
I guess my only question is, on the staff report, it says the unit is 20 years old. At any point where we hit a point where some part may be outdated and we won't be able to find it?
Really good question, but because it was a good quality of the telehandler, they suggested parts are still available. They should be able to be sourced. In fact, when we did the assessment, the mechanic said, you should hold on to this one. They don't make them like this anymore. So it's a good reason. And because the usage, again, we're not going from far distances, it can last another 10, 15 years for this smaller amount. And then at that time, then that's when we, obviously put in the budget to replace and get a new one.
So Matt, put that in your budget for 2036.
Exactly.
It's on the list.
Yeah, I actually asked a Caterpillar dealer if they had anything cheaper for the same type of equipment, and it was $72,000 for a used machine. So $70,000 for a rebuild seems quite reasonable. So, yeah.
Okay. Council?
I'll make a motion to authorize the city manager or their designee to execute all necessary agreement to complete a certified rebuild of the city's 2005 Caterpillar TH580B telehandler by Quinn Cat in an amount not to exceed $70,000 and approve an additional appropriation of up to $20,000 for rental equipment and barge transportation costs incurred during the rebuild period. And 2, make the affirmative finding Quinn Cat is the only provider in Southern California offering a Caterpillar certified rebuild program, meeting the requirements for the sole source procurement policy outlined in Avalon Municipal Code, Section 3-4.11B, And 3, amend the 2025-2026 capital budget account 3825-6781 to include $90,000 for the refurbishment of the telehandler.
And I just have a question. How long is that turnaround, sending it over and getting it back?
They told us 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the meantime,
that's where we're going to have the rental equipment.
That's the 20 grand.
Yeah, okay. All righty.
I'll second.
Okay, yeah, Mary's got it.
Call for the vote.
All ayes.
Thank you. Item number 5.
Thanks, Jackie. Item number 5 is a resolution approving and adopting public participation outreach and disruption of remote access policies. Mr. Campbell.
Hi, Council. We're going to go over, this is pursuant requirements under SB 707. I have a PowerPoint that explains what is required under SB 707. So if we could pull that up, hopefully it works.
We're working on bringing it up, Scott. Okay.
Perfect. Okay, first page. Next page. Okay, so SB 707 is the first major restructuring of the Brown Act, really in 20 years. It basically requires the council to adopt policies regarding what happens if there's technological disruptions at meetings, and also provides for community outreach. These new rules are really to reach the public and allow the public more access. So we have new rules for meeting notices and websites. This all stems from what we learned through the COVID experience, that the public likes to participate remotely using technology. It's also, as California has become a more diverse state, these policies are designed to make certain that underrepresented communities are well represented and know about meetings. So next slide. So what has not changed, next slide. Back a page. What has not changed is all actions actions must be on the agenda. You have the full ability to telecommunicate that you do right now, which means if you can't be in person, you can post the location and call in. We still have mandatory public participation, which means public notice. It still mandates all the notice requirements that we are supposed to give, and it maintains all of the closed session exemptions. So the basic structure of the Brown Act hasn't changed, but now we're going to talk about what has changed. So next slide. So under the new rules, the cities and public entities that are covered by it, Avalon is covered by it, and it's only the city council, not the planning commission, although we can adopt these rules to the planning commission if we want. But at all meetings now, you either have to have a two-way telephone system for the members of the public to call in and do their public comments via telephone, or a video platform where members of the public can Zoom in and watch the meeting and also make public comments on Zoom. So the city's going to have to make a choice, working with staff to see whether you want to do telephone or video platforms. You have to do one or the other. If you do the audio-visual system, in other words, if you do a video system, you have to have closed captioning on throughout the meeting. So there are a lot of programs out there that just take what people are saying and put it automatically into a window. That automatic captioning has to be on at all times if the city decides to do it via a video platform. Next page. So the agendas itself, they must be translated into applicable languages. Those are applicable languages or a language that constitutes 20% of the residency of a city. So in Avalon, it's English and Spanish. So from now on, starting July 1st, the agendas will be in English and Spanish. Now that's only the notice agenda. It's not the entire package, just the list of what actions we're taking, what the presentations are, not the entire package itself. In addition to that, we have to make room outside of City Hall. You know where we all post the agendas. So where we post the agendas, there has to be room for people of other languages, other than English and Spanish, to post their own translation of the agenda. And so if someone wanted to post it in Mandarin, we have to allow them to take the city's agenda, translate it into Mandarin, and they can post it. There's language in the new rules that say that the city is not liable for whatever people post, but just to know that if someone wants to post it in another language other than English and Spanish, we have to post the agenda where we post it out in front of the in City Hall. And lastly, the internet posting. We're going to have the internet will have a Spanish section of it, which will direct Spanish-speaking residents to the agenda in Spanish and also some information about the public meetings. Next slide. So now meetings must also be translated. But what the legislature has decided for the time being is that the city does not have to translate the meetings themselves. The city has to include in the agenda instructions on how people can request translation assistance. And that assistance may be space for translators, extra time to translate, or allow the public to come into City Hall and use their own translation equipment. This does not mean that we have to provide the translation services ourselves. We can opt to. It's not required. We just have to provide the options here, space for translators, extra time, and if a member of the public or someone wants to bring their own equipment in to help them translate, we have to allow them into City Hall. Next slide, more on the translation. Again, actual translation services are currently not required. I anticipate that in 3 to 4 years they will be required. The other thing that is in the legislation is that the city has to take actions to encourage residents, including those from underrepresented communities, to participate in public meetings. The legislature thought that there's really not a lot of public participation in meetings throughout the state, and so they put an onus on the city to do more outreach to all members of the public, but especially members of underrepresented communities. So part of that involves a system on the website for people to request, to send an email request or a request to get the agendas and then emailed to them. We have to have a web page that specifically lists information about public meetings, what the importance of public meetings are, what happens at public meetings, and the benefits of public participation. And then we have to have a policy, which you will be asked to adopt tonight, wherein you establish reasonable efforts to invite groups that do not traditionally participate in public meetings. So again, these are underrepresented communities, maybe seniors, maybe schools, maybe if there's a certain population that may be afraid to participate or feel intimidated, we have to have a policy that encourages the city to outreach to those people that do not traditionally participate in public meetings. So the draft policy before you today establishes the goals of that policy and then says within 9 months we have to specifically come to the council with which groups we've identified and what efforts we're going to be making. So we'll be asking for your help in identifying where we can direct our efforts. Next slide. Telecommunication participation is still available after the agenda is posted. We've had this happen several times where because of a council member may be sick or because they have child care issues that come into after the agendas be posted, they still want to participate. You are still allowed to do this. The city has to make a finding that these conditions are met. So it's child care, medical emergency, illness. If you do this and you don't have to post your location, but you have to participate with audio and video on at all times. So you have to have the camera on and the audio on. You have to identify if there's anyone 18 years or older in the room, and you can only do it 5 times a year. So if you've done this 5 times and you're sick or have child care, you will not be able to utilize this exception to teleconferencing. Other new provisions are that some councils have had experience with people who have been participating via Zoom or remotely take over the meetings and post pornographic images during the council meeting. And if that happens, you can just cut that off. That's not a legitimate public participation. The second thing is right now, when you decide what the city manager's salary is in closed session, you have to announce that. If you were ever to determine what other department heads' salaries are in closed session, you would have to announce that. Very rare for that to happen. I don't think that is going to happen. The one thing also that you have to have a policy on is, as I said, you're going to have to videotape or have your meetings via telephone. And so when you have problems like you're having tonight where someone can't participate the regular way, they have to call in, you're required to adopt a policy, which is before you, where you work for an hour to try and fix any technological problems that may come in a meeting, whether it's the video goes off, whether people can't talk. You have an hour to fix that. If you can't fix the technological problems, again, right now it's not mandatory that you do meetings via phone or video. July 1st it is. So if you have a problem after July 1st, you have to spend an hour fixing it. And if you can't fix it within an hour, the council can decide to go forward with the meeting if you make a finding that we've tried to fix the technology, it doesn't work, but we need to go forward. So those are a summary of what the new rules are. You have the 2 draft policies in front of you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
So if you participate remotely, do you still have to post the agenda on the window of the location you're at?
If you are participating remotely before the agenda is posted, in other words, before a meeting and the time for Gabby to post the agenda, you have to post it at that location, and you don't have to have the camera on the whole time. You can turn it on and off. It's when the agenda's been posted and something comes up that causes you not to be able to attend the meeting in person, but you still want to participate, and it's a medical emergency, child care, you don't have to post it at that location, but you have to be on camera the entire meeting.
Oh, wow. Okay, so like same day of the meeting, if something came up, you could,
you could do that if it's one of the these special conditions, and then you can only do it 5 times a year.
But if you do it before it's posted with lots of notice, can you do it more than 5 times a year?
Yes, you can do it unlimited times remotely.
Oh, wow.
As long as it's posted on the is the location on the website. I have one agency I'm general counsel for. I've had a person who's posted and been online for 3 years. He's only gone to 4 meetings the entire time. He's always remote.
A city council person.
And everybody talks about him.
That's an appointed position, so it's a board. So he doesn't have to stand for
okay.
election.
Okay. Let me be careful.
I'm not encouraging anybody
No,
to
of
do it
course not.
remotely.
But I'm just saying,
Just curious.
We might talk about you.
But it doesn't apply to me, I'm done.
Stop that.
Not yet. It seems like telephone may be the way to go,
I think so.
given the difficulties with video that we occasionally
Yes.
have and the potential for drama we don't want to see.
So my question is, so I call in, Gabby has to answer the call?
That's what I'm wondering is how that's managed, and I know that you guys will come up with a system, which I'm sorry that you also have to do another thing, but I'm also thankful for it.
Yeah, that's something that we haven't really spoken about, so I'm sure those discussions will be forthcoming.
And then we limit the time that they can be on the phone asking the question or making the comment.
Just like we would in person.
The time periods still apply.
Okay.
So, the same time periods apply. The only difference is, for time periods, if someone is using a translator, they are given twice the amount of time.
Similar to calls that we've been on for AQMD, for other state CPUC calls where they have, normally I think AT&T is the presider of those, the managed calls, where they have a contracted service with them. So they literally have an operator on the line. You're required to provide your name and your contact information. And if it's on a specific item, they ask you for that information as well. And then they actually manage the flow of calls and manage the duration of time. So I don't know if that's something we can look at the cost at looking both either if it needs to be city staff managing or if it should be a contracted cost that we would need to be looking at for that.
We'll look into it.
Yeah.
So now I'm Spanish speaking. I'm understanding just enough to get on the phone and make a call. And then who's going to run to the phone and translate?
right.
Because we do want to encourage that kind of participation, definitely. So we have to figure out.
So I think that same type of service has translation services. Otherwise, we would be looking at either asking a city staff member who speaks Spanish to be dedicated to that role or having to, I don't know, they have the Google AirPods now that you can get with the translation services.
Yeah,
in them.
yes, yes. And do you have any comments about this that you would like to make?
No, right now, we do have ongoing trainings with like other city clerks in California, pretty much on a regular basis. And I know everyone's kind of in the same position. We're just kind of like seeing what other cities, they're in the very like beginning stages, like we're talking about now. We did have an update on our website. All those translation services, you could translate into any pretty much language we have. That's an added feature. So we're done with that sort of compliance.
Okay.
So that's, good that we're a little ahead of the curve. But,
We are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what about these cities with 80 and 100 languages?
Yeah.
Oh my
Right.
gosh.
And so
Well,
also,
remember that the languages is only 20% of the residents have to speak that language. So there's a couple in Orange County that will have Spanish, English, and Vietnamese or Chinese in the San Gabriel Valley. Not a lot. The one thing on translation, there are 2 ways I've seen it done. I have one board that I'm general counsel of. They just have a separate telephone number for people to call in, and that's translated in Spanish. So they get a real-time translation. They just have to call into that number. And then some cities have the electronic, they have a translator there in City Hall with them, and then they have the headphones that they give out to members of the public that do not speak English so that they can hear the translation.
Oh, sweet.
So those are 2 things that I've seen done.
Okay, excellent.
And so we still have to have you guys go through the process of what's going to work best for you. and then bring it back to us, correct?
We'll prepare some options and bring them back. I'm sure Gabby gets the solicitations that I get every day. We get 5 to 10 emails on SB 707 compliance and translation services, so we can start exploring those now.
Do you have a sense or preference between telephone or video, or would you like us to wait until you can weigh some of those options before we decide?
I mean, I think we'll wait. Right now, the quality of Scott's call with the setup that we had tonight, I think was the best quality we had from a sound standpoint.
Yeah. Right.
But we'll see what we can do about that.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Is this
go-
something that is already in the budget, or is that something we have to create a line item for?
We'll put it, it'll be in the next fiscal year budget since this will start July 1st.
Okay.
Also, Scott said that just the agenda items will be translated. If someone was to request, could someone get a full package translated by request?
Does our system do that now?
Yes, it does.
It does that now?
It does the entire packet.
So they could just do it themselves anyway.
They say they want it in Spanish, click the button, it's all translated.
Oh, on the city website?
Yes, but like the paper copy that we would be putting out and, distributing it to council, that you'd be posting, would just be the cover sheet for right now. But if they were to go online, they could get the entire packet.
Oh, okay, cool.
In any language.
Right.
Oh, yay, look at us go.
That where we go? No? So we can adopt the resolution now. Do we just have to say telephone or video, and that's the only thing you need to know?
Yeah, you need to adopt the resolution before July 1st. So I've given you the resolution. The decisions as to, again, the resolution applies to what happens if your technology is disrupted. It requires for you to, work it out for an hour. And then the policy on outreach says that you will that you are dedicated to outreaching to members of underrepresented communities and the public as a whole, and that within 9 months you will have done a job in identifying those specific communities and what efforts you're going to do. We will start those efforts immediately, but in 9 months you'll have a more definitive policy, see kind of what works, what doesn't work, and improve it, and then come back by next March with a final policy as to what actually is best for Avalon.
Got it.
Then on that note, I will make a motion to adopt a resolution approving and adopting public participation, outreach, and distribution of remote access policies in compliance with SB 707.
I'll second.
Disruption, but that's okay. Call for the vote.
All ayes.
Okay. There's no further business. Meeting is adjourned.